Chiquinha, Chiquinha.
Go check out the room.
Chiquinha.
Okay, I'm the content creator for this channel. If you like what I'm doing, just subscribe and then also hit the that little bell. That means you're gonna get notified of other videos that I do. Okay, so in Panama City, I'm gonna walk around with this camera. Okay, so this is the narrated version. I'm gonna be doing a voiceover for this one. I have two versions, so if you just want to hear the sounds and want to hear what people say when I walk by them, you can go to the other one, and I have a link below, so you can check that out. This one, you're just gonna only see the visual, but I'm gonna be kind of doing like a Panama travel guide about Casco Viejo. And Casco Viejo basically means the old quarter. It's where the old architecture is at. I'll try to describe a lot about Panama City as well as we go through it, but basically a lot of this has been like basically everything has a new paint job. It looks pretty nice actually, and I just kind of want to give you some references. When I was there, I was also asking, oh, you know, where else in Panama should I go? Should I go downtown? Like, oh, there's nothing but malls there. So it's like, I don't know, you know, like, and then kind of got the feeling that like the downtown area wasn't really like walkable, pedestrian friendly. It was all more recent stuff, maybe with a lot of big parking lots and malls and lots of apartments, but the apartments maybe a little bit like Miami, a little bit, where it doesn't really feel like it's not really like Manhattan where you just walk down and walk around everywhere. Anyways, so I just decided to focus on this quarter, and I didn't have enough time to explore everywhere anyways, but this is the best place to be walking around the webcam by a long shot. There's also some waterfront areas, and I've seen other people with YouTubers who've walked along those, but I wanted to be here. As you can see, it's definitely well worth it. It's a pretty interesting neighborhood. One of the things that's interesting about it is basically they said there's like 3 bad neighborhoods that are surrounding it, and it's basically gentrifying outward. And so this one is basically where the money's at, and people are coming in, and there's tourists around. And it felt like a lot of things are just targeted towards tourists. Everything seemed to be like, you know, Panama hats that you can buy, and you know, Panama t-shirts and things like that. Like, I didn't really see where people are living and eating as the Panamanians. I mean, there were some places that were like that, of course, but not like, but it felt more like an area set aside for tourists with all kind of, you know, refurbished places and nice paint jobs. But it was pretty cool, so I liked it. I would definitely like to have spent more time than I did, but I was able to use the webcam and show you what I did see. This right here is like a little plaza that's kind of centrally located. This particular area is not that big, this old quarter. I can walk around all of it probably within a couple hours, probably. If I want to really spend a lot of time, I could probably spend a whole day there pretty easily if I wanted to hang out in the plaza or, you know, eat and just hang out in those places. There are some good restaurants there, and so that could have been pretty easily as well. I showed some other videos, I showed some other photos of some of this with my friends on Facebook, and one of them right away was like, oh, it looks like New Orleans. It's like the French Quarter of New Orleans. I was like, yeah, it kind of does actually. Like, there's a lot of elements that seem like that. And I think the Caribbean has that anyways, you know, like Cartagena in Colombia, San Jose, Puerto Rico, is that San Jose, I think, or no, is that, anyways, but Panama City is definitely one of them too, and you can see it for sure. There's some other tourist shops on the right, Panama hats, kind of pretty much everywhere, Panama hats. There's a Panama flag, looks like a Spain flag, I think, right next to it, the red and white, I think. I might not always know everything 100%. And you can kind of see those 2 girls. That's kind of like Panamanians, kind of look like that. They look like a little bit Caucasian with indigenous, but you also see African as well. I think it's something like 14% African and something like, I don't know how many Spanish European, but a lot of them kind of have these mixed looks, especially the like those 2 girls definitely have that. So I always kind of like to see the demographics. It's kind of interesting of just, you know, how it changes in different places. I definitely saw some really strong indigenous too, with and they are up in this waterfront area that we're gonna go see later, and they're selling more artisan kind of things. Construction workers. I saw a lot of construction workers, and I saw a lot of policemen. You'll probably see more of them later as well. What else do you want to know? Yeah, to get to I think it was 25 American. Everything's in American dollars, so I don't think they have their own currency, but I'd get some coins back in Panamanian coins. But then everything's listed in dollars, and I'd give them dollars, and I'd get Panamanian coins, but then I get dollars back. So I think it's predominantly in a dollar currency now, and I think I read that anyways, and I can definitely confirm that. But I did bring home some Panamanian coins. Hey, look how nice those paint jobs are. I guess it's really amazing. Like, if that wasn't painted, it might not look so good, and if it was more, well, there's definitely money there for sure. Panama is bringing a lot of retirees these days, and a lot of foreign capitals coming in. So a lot of North Americans, I think Europeans, and people. I heard it's kind of becoming more like the Miami of the Americas, meaning that a lot of people will bring their money there and try to get an investment and stay there. And it's a good place to kind of park your money if you have some money from somewhere else. I don't know what it'd be like to work there. I guess people are probably doing that too. Let's see, safety. I felt safe walking around here, but there was a lot of policemen. They were telling me it was because of the recent election. I wasn't sure if it's to protect the tourists, because there was a lot of stuff that I was reading was saying, like, don't walk into these adjacent neighborhoods because those are a lot more crime will happen. But you can kind of tell right away as soon as you walk into them. And I drove through them because you have to go through them anyways in the taxi, and they didn't really seem. There's like a lot of people there that looked like they were all locals that were maybe didn't have the best income, but it didn't look dangerous or anything like that. But I don't know. A lot of travel advisories, you just have to take your own, see what you think personally when you walk through them. But down in this area was fine, and the policemen were kind of surprised I don't see any obvious ones right now yet, but I did see quite a few when I was there. Getting there from the airport, I think it was 25 American dollars. I think that's really pretty right there. Could have been $30. And when I took the taxi going there, the taxi driver seemed a little bit desperate. He was telling me, I have 5 kids and I don't have any money, and so I was kind of like, oh, I have kids too, because I was just, like, why are you telling me the money part, So then sure enough, as soon as he dropped me off, he's like, do you have any extra money, like no tip, but I don't know, it's hard to really know. Each country has its own thing, and I think Panama has a lot of Americans, so maybe they expect tips. I'm an American, but I live in Asia, so there's no tipping culture at all, like just zero. You don't tip ever in a taxi driver, but I know in America you do. So Panama, maybe they have that expectation now, so he seemed to like right away hit me up for a tip. And I gave him a tip because he was so money oriented, just making me a little uncomfortable, to be honest. Okay, so this is the Panama Skyline, which is actually really pretty, and this is kind of a little bit of sand. And there was another spot that I think we're going to be going to see later, where I saw kind of looks more like beach-like, where people can actually sunbathe. This looks like they could have too. I don't know. It doesn't look like it's set up for that though, but technically it looks like they could. But another place is quite small, about the same size, and I asked them, and they said, yeah, you can sunbathe there, and some people do. Yeah, that's kind of cool. This park is kind of near the southern ocean part of this neighborhood that's all kind of been redeveloped, this old quarter. And I was basically there in the daytime. Basically what happened was I scheduled to have a very, very long layover, so I think I arrived at 8 in the morning. I think I'm walking around here maybe closer to like 11 p.m. or 1 p.m. And then I had to go back to the airport at like 4 or 5 p.m. in the evening, so I didn't actually see what it might have been like in the evening. Looks like there was some places, but not a lot. I didn't see anything that looked like a party street or anything like that. Basically what I did see though was a lot of tourist shops, coffee house kind of stuff. Everything's in Spanish, so when you see like coffee house in English, it's definitely targeted towards foreign tourists. you're probably curious about how much it cost. I don't know if I show any menus on the video. I think I might in one place, but I was looking around at that a little bit. I took my webcam sometimes and sometimes I didn't, so I walked around quite a bit. And sometimes when I first walk around, I just want to kind of map things out before I take the camera with me. And so I think I saw like kind of your typical restaurants was like $13-14, which is a little bit too much. That's kind of a typical looking Panamanian guy. But there's all kinds. You see black, white, indigenous, mestizo. I think he's mestizo. Mestizo would basically be like Caucasian and indigenous mix. Lots of tourist stuff everywhere. Panama, everything. So yeah, if you do visit Panama, this is the place to go. And I think I kind of explored it. I think I had like that about 8 hours, and I think I felt like I was ready to see a different neighborhood after like 3 or 4 hours. I could have spent a lot more time, of course, especially in the evening, I think, when more restaurants would be open. So I was a little bit surprised when I told them, like, hey, if I want to just go downtown, what should I see or do? And I don't know, maybe they gave me wrong information. But when I drove through the downtown, it's like, okay, yeah, it looks like it's not really like a place that you just hang out and walk around. Like a lot of times when you're in Central America, South America, Latin America, there's plazas everywhere in the downtown areas, and like more money is in those places. I guess this one would be that area right here, Plaza Vieja. So I guess this is where the money comes in, and then this would be the downtown with some plazas like that. And then the other part is all new, all the skyscrapers, and I guess that's I guess it's maybe not set up for like that kind of like plazas and parks and kind of people just kind of hanging out in the daytime. I guess I just drove through it, so it looked kind of corporatized like a downtown American skyscraper center, but I don't really 100% know without having actually mapped it out with my camera. Okay, so this one we're going to be walking down, and I think pretty soon we're going to be going to this kind of wall that overlooks parts of the city. And okay, what are some other things people might be interested in? Yeah, money, probably like $14-15 for a meal. This is a tourist area. I'm going to guess you probably could find stuff for 7 or 8 somewhere else, but it's definitely not a country where you eat things for a few dollars. Like I think years ago I used to live in South America, and that was basically what it was like to be in a lot of those places down there, especially like places like Ecuador and Peru. So this is not quite like that. Let's see, there's a teatro, theater. I think I also go into a bookstore in here too. A lot of artwork like that. Definitely feel like there's money here, and they're definitely developed tourist infrastructure. Those trees are really cool. I don't know what those are called, but I saw those quite a bit in the old quarter, Casco Viejo, so I thought they were pretty cool, pretty amazing. I didn't really encounter many people because of the time. It was a weekday, so I don't really know what it'd be like to be there any other time. There's a couple guys that one guy that's kind of hanging around trying to get people to go to some club later in the evening, and I felt like it was a little bit hard to lose that guy. So I was thinking some of these guys could kind of latch onto you, possibly. I don't really know. I mean, I just kind of had a couple guys that were like that, but there's so many policemen that I think they really can't latch on too strongly. And actually, latching is maybe not the best word. Just kind of more like. You can hear that one in the other video, actually. I think he's basically like, I think he was like, oh, I see you walking around with the camera. Like, you're just taking pictures? Is that what you're doing, taking pictures? And it's like, in my head, I'm like, yeah, I'm a tourist. Like, yeah. Like, are you going to go, like, you didn't take, basically it's like implying you didn't take my card the first time. So, I guess you're basically just trying to give a little hustle, and maybe a little bit irritated that people weren't ready to take his cards to go to the club at 1 p.m. or whatever. Anyways, this is that was kind of a one-off for that particular guy. Yeah, this is the view up on top. And this is more where I start seeing more of the indigenous artisans. They're more around the corner. But yeah, you can see this nice bridge in the downtown again. And I guess there's kind of like two main places in the city, like either this place with all the old colonial architecture, which is what I like, or the downtown, which is, I guess, more malls, I guess. Looks like more corporate oriented, more business, office business stuff. And I don't know, it would have been kind of interesting to see too, actually. But I've been trying to looking at other YouTuber stuff, and usually I don't see too many people walking around downtown. Or if I do, it looks like there's like cars that are always blocking you and kind of going into everything all the time. Like it doesn't seem like solid sidewalks everywhere. It feels more like a big parking lot kind of thing where people, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I haven't really heard of Panama City being a very pedestrian friendly, walkable place. But in this old quarter it is, for sure. This was basically why I went there. And let's see, to the left you can see sometimes, I think you can see some of the workers. They're basically, this is definitely the indigenous doing kind of artisan stuff, and it's pretty cool looking things actually. There's a map of the whole area, and you can kind of see it's surrounded. It's like a little peninsula, this little old quarter. And I think to walk across the whole old quarter, if I walk casually like I'm doing, maybe like 30 to 40 minutes maybe to get from where the water part is to the what they keep saying is bad neighborhoods. But yeah, with the police, when I started getting near my hotel, there's a lot of police there, so I don't know, they were saying it's because of the elections, but I didn't really see the correlation between why they'd all be in the tourist area. Like, just when there's elections, I know it's not always the safest place to be sometimes in Latin America. I guess they were kind of explaining to me that the new president came in and he wanted security because otherwise maybe it would ruin his image, like if tourists were there and there's like a lot of crime, which kind of implies that there is crime, so they want to protect it so the image is protected. And whatever the case, there definitely was policemen there. But actually, for a viewer, I should probably give you security because they care about the tourism industry and protecting it, and are also bringing in a lot of foreign capital as well. So I think they also want to protect that as well. So, and I think when people talk about Central America, Panama and Costa Rica are the two that really try to protect the foreigners, where the other ones, I kind of get the feeling that there's a significant amount of crime against everybody, not only foreigners, but just rampant crime issues. So I guess that should be a relief to a tourist or someone who's trying to move capital around. I keep saying that because that's my image of Panama. It's a place that people seem to want to move money to. People from other Latin American countries that have a lot of money, but they're worried about security, and they park their money in Miami or Panama City these days, it seems like. And I guess the rule of law must be strong. There's a lot of indigenous cultures right there, artisan work. Guy kind of hustling right there, selling stuff, but they don't really bother. Actually, I was thinking about that. They don't really bother you. I did have that one guy trying to drum up business for a disco, and there was somebody else I remember too, but they're pretty few and far between when you really think about it, because here's some of the police force. So yeah, this police force is for this area, but they're not the only ones. There's another area when it gets closer to the transitional zone, I guess you'd call it. Lots of tourist artisan stuff everywhere. I actually was kind of surprised that I didn't see other YouTubers filming this area. Usually they're walking along a waterfront area, and the waterfront is just like a bunch of traffic on one side and water on the other, and people are jogging by. But I don't see many people film this. I don't know exactly why not. But actually, when my taxi driver came, the guy that was kind of giving me his sob stories, I mean, just feel sympathy for him, but I could kind of feel like he was trying to set me up for a tip. But he didn't know how to get here. So there's another taxi driver that was explaining to him how to bring someone to here. So I thought that was kind of a weird thing anyways, and I asked him, hey, how long have you been a taxi driver? And he said 1 year. And I was like, oh, in my head it's like, you've been a taxi driver for 1 year, but you've never taken anybody to from the airport to the old quarter before? It's kind of weird. So the guy was kind of explaining to him that he had to take I could kind of see all their hand gestures and catch some of the words. Stores are pretty well stocked. These look like Panamanian people too. Like there's definitely the whole spectrum of people. African, Panamanian, that white Caucasian woman looks. She could be a tourist. I don't really know actually, but they're basically like they have that kind of that South America, Latin America. There's just a whole spectrum of people that look indigenous. There's also like some Asian-looking people. I think there's like Chinese ethnicity that went through, especially in Havana, and I think Panama City has some Asian immigrants as well. Lots of different places too. So kind of like a ethnic melting pot, kind of like the United States is like that too, right? So especially in the cities, anyways, of American cities. More the policemen walking around, checking everything out. Sometimes I don't know, for some reason I'm kind of like, I never really know what you can film and not film. Like I think Panama's absolutely fine, but sometimes in certain countries there's you have no authorization to film this because there's police there, things like that. So like those other guys, when I saw like the 20 policemen, it kind of made me stand back for a second, like, wait a minute, can I have my camera here? And then later I saw an Asian Chinese tour group, and they came up and they were just filming left and right, the military people. They had their iPhones out and like snap. I don't know if I captured that on film. I went out, walked around quite a bit at different times when I was there, so I don't know if that was one of the ones that I showed on the video or not. And actually you can see the roads too. Everything just looks like nice paint jobs, right? Like nice, nicely restored. Some money went to different things. I guess that's definitely a good thing, right? What else would you want to know about Panama? It is expensive. People were pretty nice and friendly. Basically, since I had a layover, I just got a hostel and I met lots of friendly people there. And if you get inside these houses, they're pretty cool. So that hostel that I had was up on the second floor, and I could sit out on the balcony, and I did that as well when I was there. And that was it's definitely pretty nice too. I think I took some pictures of it, but I probably won't be able to show it on my GoPro camera here. There's actually a lot of stuff like this too. There's a few of them. I think this one holds the like a little bookstore / library, but it had some significance to it as a tourist site. Nice big plazas. Actually, it's kind of, I wonder if that was once, I'm not really sure if these things were once open to the public, It looks like this one maybe was because it's, but it's like enclosed by buildings, so it's hard to know if it was like private. But it's kind of interesting because, well, actually, I'm visiting some other places in Latin America, and I'll show those in other videos. But sometimes you walk into these buildings and they have like nice courtyards in the middle. And so this one looks like it has a really beautiful courtyard in the middle, but if you're in the outside, you might not realize that it does. It feels like you're just walking in a city block, right? So I go in here, I have a little bit of conversation with her in my broken Spanish, and I don't know if she really understands, if we understand each other fully, but basically I just think I discovered that this is only Panama writers. Everything's only in Spanish. There isn't anything else, which is fine. I think when I was in here, I was like kind of hoping I could find something that was in English, maybe about Panama, but it's not only Panamanian writers, which is fine. Lots of children's books too. She's kind of telling me, and I think I'm clarifying that, and then yeah, you can kind of hear the other version, the link below, if you want to hear what I'm actually saying in my broken Spanish. Nice courtyard. I like how they trim the painting green, you know, and they definitely take care of everything. Beautiful tropical trees. Nice brick courtyard. White chairs everywhere. Kind of has like a little bit of a Western United States feel, doesn't it? Like something you'd see in California or New Mexico or something. Some iron gates down below, right up ahead. A lot of iron gates, eh? I think I'm just checking my camera right here, make sure that it's still working. Sometimes it turns off, and I won't know it until later, so the way I carry it's on my chest, so I just flip it down and I make sure that it's still recording. Yeah, this is a little bit of a tourist site right there. So that's another tourist in front of me. Yeah, the buildings look really nice, right? All kind of well painted. I like those little balconies and also those little alcoves, the ones that kind of jet out over the street. I saw one to the right. Lots of tourist shops, and you go in. Actually, when you go in, you can kind of get a feel for what a lot of these places look like inside, like tall ceilings. Oh, and in fact, I'm going to walk all the way down to the other side. So when I'm walking through this one, I'm kind of capturing all the tourist stuff, you know, because they have the camera and they don't realize it's turned on. I don't know if they see it. I think sometimes they see it, sometimes they don't, but it doesn't have a red thing that's flicking like it's on. So she's greeting me, and I think they think that I might be sitting down to eat something, but I'm not. I'm just going to go to overlook on the balcony there, see what that's all about. And there's the beach. And I'm kind of like, oh, that's kind of cool. So when I turn around and ask them about it, and they're like, oh, yeah, people go out there and they sunbathe, and yeah, wow, okay. Don't know if it's true or not, but it definitely looks like it. Had that feel, didn't it? It's funny, I just saw a little glass jar to the right. It said tip jar. Kind of see how American influenced things are, right? It's written in English, tip jar. Yeah, it's very centered for the tourist. This whole area. Okay, need to check out his shirt. Slow down, Panama. You got a nice big sloth there. It's kind of cool, actually, when you think about it. When you look at the tourism stuff, then it's like, oh yeah, they got sloths in Panama. That's pretty cool. If you're wondering what that is to the right, basically what I do when I carry the camera is I have a bag that kind of leans. They look like they're in the same area, but the way I do that is because it doesn't look like I just have a big camera on my chest. It looks like I have my bag on my chest. And you kind of have to really focus and see the camera, or otherwise you just think that it's a bag in front of me. And every once in a while that bag kind of comes over across the camera slightly, and then and I think since I'm in the store, I kind of leave it like that. Sometimes I notice it, sometimes I don't. But when I'm in the store, I kind of like, a lot of times I don't want you filming in stores, so so I try to like put the bag over it just a little bit more, and this one it kind of covers the lens a little bit. I throw magnets on my refrigerator, so the thing about Panama, I think a lot of people know this anyways, when they research it, there's a Panama City, Florida, and a Panama City, Panama. So so that particular souvenir has a Panama coin in it, and I think it has a kind of a flag looking thing, but a lot of people wouldn't know the flag. So I want to make sure I have a souvenir that somehow implies that it's the country and not, you know, Panama City, Florida. Must be confusing for, not confusing, but it must be irritating for people in Panama. Where are you from? Panama? Oh, Florida. Nice place. Panama City. Oh, the panhandle of Florida, eh? I don't know if they get that sometimes or not. I mean, if they're traveling in some place where there's a lot of Americans, right? Like if they were in who knows where, another country, right? If they're in Puerto Rico visiting or something. Okay. But you can kind of see there's definitely a lot of artisan work in Panama. You can see that on the walls. And almost all the tourist shops look like that. Panama hats to the right. It's kind of like mandatory for almost every shop in Panama City. Architecture does look pretty cool, and I like the pedestrian-friendly streets. Like, now that I think about it, there were some cars on some streets, but a lot of them don't have many. I guess there's not much reason to drive through them. For one, they must park in different location. There was a few parking lots that you saw and that you noticed, I'm sure. And I guess, well, there's some cars coming down now, but I didn't really feel like I had to move over for cars all the time. But they have the sidewalks are just big enough, and there's not that many people around anyways. Definitely very looks really nice though, doesn't it? I do wonder what it would be like if in the future it does become more like a New Orleans, and it definitely looks like it already, and they probably are planning that. But I was thinking, what if they had a bunch of they have a lot of tourist sites and restaurants already. But I was thinking, what if they had, like, New Orleans has a lot of bars, right? So like, what if suddenly they had like a little nightlife area? But I think it might bring in too much opportunistic crime, maybe. I don't really know. Maybe that's the reason they don't. I'm not really sure. I'm just kind of trying to. I just don't know. I'm kind of surprised I don't see. I don't know. Maybe in the evening maybe chairs come out, and there are quite a few people parked right on this street. It's like a one-way street. That's right. Actually, when I came to my hotel, I was also in a similar thing like this guy right here. They're kind of sandwiched in, and then if the car comes behind you, they're kind of stuck. So I think there's really no reason for a car to come down there anyways, unless they're like for a tourist. And I think that the people that are living there that have their cars parked, it's probably more like expat money, possibly. I think that's where a lot of the money that's coming in to refurbish and put a nice paint job on everything. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe a lot of Panamanians are making a lot of money as well, probably from real estate. So it's probably all kinds. You definitely feel the money there though, right? I mean, look how beautiful that is, and everything is like has a fresh coat of paint everywhere. And it should be. I mean, the balconies are beautiful. The way things used to be a long time ago, the way they built towns and architecture is highly desirable, right? It's like you just don't really do that anymore, so yeah. Pretty cool archways and balconies, and I did eat at almost everything is local. There was a Subway restaurant that I went into while I was there, and I got something with a spinach wrap with some vegetables that I wasn't that familiar with that were part of that vegetable wrap. I can't remember what it was called because I've never seen it before. I don't know if that was unique to this region or not. Should have filmed that too. And I'm kind of just meandering, by the way, so there's other streets that I didn't take the camera down. I explored quite a few of them before I took the camera out, so I think I kind of tried to do the more interesting stuff, like get down to that waterfront area. Oh yeah. Sure, quite a few people parked, isn't there? Now that I start thinking about that, but I don't really feel like they're driving through all the time. But I have to move over all the time. But the sidewalks are set up pretty well, so you don't really have to be in the middle of the street either. You can tell that I've lived in Asia for too long because I'm kind of used to everything being mixed together and a car coming up behind you all the time. See what else. If there's other questions that you want to ask me, just write it in the comments. If you like this video, also just comment about anything, especially if you got all the way into this far. Just maybe tell me where you're from and why you're interested in Panama. The reason I'm asking that is because it increases. It'll make the video more in the search engine, so other people can come across it too. If you watched this far, then you must have been something interesting about it enough that you should comment so that other people have a chance to see it too. Even if you just want to say that, you can definitely like it. Basically, like when a video comes out and it doesn't really get any comments or likes, it'll kind of disappear into the oblivion of the massive amounts of videos that people produce every day. So if you have any interest in any video that you ever see, you should definitely like it. And if you make it this far into 36 minutes already, definitely comment, so that because that means that something about it was attractive enough to warrant you getting this far into it. And I'm happy to hear it when people do, because I'm not sure how popular, how much people get out of it. Like I love stuff like this, and this is why I film these kind of videos, because I love exploring, and I also love to YouTube other people's experiences. And a lot of times when I look at like Panama City, there's always like American TV shows, that aren't really showing any of this stuff ever. They'll just show you like the high-end restaurants that they went to and some museums, and that's about it, But not many people just walk around and show you the experience of walking around, and when I travel, that's what I like to do. And when I YouTube places, I also want to see that as well. So basically I'm creating that material that I like, that I wish there was more of. And if you are a person that likes that, comment and share. Yeah, those buildings are beautiful, right? Alto. Yeah, I guess actually that other guy that I was talking about, I guess I don't have him on this camera. I walk around with two different cameras. I walk around my GoPro and just film, and then the other one I just do personal photos, and I just that one's the one I walk around with and just kind of map out a place, and I just put it in my pocket. Where this one is pretty highly visible. It's right on my chest, so if I've never been somewhere before, I just want to map it out a little bit. And yeah, this area you can feel absolutely fine with the camera. Like I didn't feel like just tourists, really. More Panama hats, more magnets, more shirts. It's funny, that brown building looks like that's like one of the few doesn't have the recent paint job. Yeah, when I see videos like this though, I really like it though. It gives me a sense of what it's really, really like to walk around in that place. And this is basically exactly what it was like. It's a policeman again, right? Yeah. Look at that architecture though, it's beautiful. But if it wasn't painted, I guess it would have a completely different view, right? Like it feels all like a drab cement color with chipped paint everywhere. You could be walking through, you're like, yeah, I don't know. It's amazing, you know, what a paint job does to places. More policemen again. And that blue building, that's where I was staying at, by the way. So yeah, that place is, I think I show it, maybe you saw the corner of it right there. Okay, I guess I walk down a little bit and then, what do I do? I'm watching the video for the first time myself right now. Yeah, this one I'm going to call my Panama travel video. So hopefully people can find it. So yeah, if you like it yourself. Okay, well I walked past my hotel and I guess I might be turning off the camera in another minute, so I don't know. Even this little plaza right here, it's nicely painted, right? Yeah, so actually if you stay anywhere down here in a hotel, I guess it doesn't really matter that you don't know exactly what hotel I stayed in. I think it's called Magnolia Inn. So if you want to look that up, you can. It's a hostel. But I think there was private rooms as well in there, I think. I do wish I would have been kind of curious what it would have been like in the evening. Okay, I'm going to be walking up into this plaza with a church up here. But I think my camera is turned off before I get up there. So, anyways, hope you enjoyed this, getting a sense of Casco Viejo. And I think that's going to be the end of our video. So, hope you enjoyed that. Like and subscribe, all right? Thanks for viewing and showing support as well.
Chiquinha, chiquinha.